The school is alive with movement, parents arriving in formal yet comfortable attire, children running excitedly to their classrooms, teachers guiding families toward the main auditorium where the function will soon begin. There's a warm buzz in the air, a blend of polite conversations and laughter echoing through the decorated halls. You walk in with your husband, your son's small hand secured in yours. He tugs at your arm, pointing toward his classroom with an eager smile. Mom, look, that's my project board. You smile back, your voice soft as you reassure him. We'll go see it in a while, love. Your husband places a steady hand on your back, gently guiding you toward the registration desk where a teacher greets you. Everything feels normal, calm, pleasant, just another day of parenthood. Across the hallway, another family steps in. Jungkook walks in with his wife and daughter, their presence unnoticed at first, just another pair of parents blending into the crowd. His daughter beams up at him. Daddy, do you think my drawing will win? Jungkook chuckles, his voice light. Of course, sweetheart, it's the best one, right? He ruffles her hair before glancing at his wife, who smiles at their child's excitement. For a moment, both of you remain absorbed in your own worlds, two different lives, two separate paths, until your eyes meet. A single second stretches into eternity. The distant hum of conversations and footsteps fade into the background. The people around you blur. It's just you and him now, standing at opposite ends of a life you once shared. Jungkook's gaze stills, his posture rigid. There's no shock, no dramatic reaction, just a quiet, unreadable stillness in his expression, a flicker of something deep beneath the surface. Your breath catches, but you force yourself to exhale slowly, unwilling to let emotions rise. The past has no place here, not when your son tugs at your hand, not when your husband stands beside you, not when his wife holds their child's hand. Yet, for that one moment, the world tilts. Your husband's voice breaks the silence. We should head inside. You blink, snapping back to reality. Jungkook looks away first. Without a word, he turns toward the other corridor, leading his daughter ahead. You swallow the lump in your throat and walk the other way. Just as everyone walk, your husband, son, and his wife, daughter stroll and merge away into the crowd. Just then, two different faculties approach you both differently, asking you to check your child's class project displayed in a classroom. By sheer coincidence, you both enter the same classroom one after the another, along with other parents too. While among everyone, you both don't know each other's presence. Unexpectedly, somehow everyone leave while you both are the only ones left, lost in gazing deeply into each student's work. The soft click of the door barely registers at first. At first, neither of you react. Gradually, when you both turn around, your eyes lock with each other's, pausing the world around you again. The function outside continues. The sound of a distant microphone, laughter, parents chatting, but inside this classroom, it's just you and Jungkook. And silence. Thick, suffocating, loaded with everything left unsaid. You exhale sharply, forcing yourself to look away from him. Your fingers tighten into a fist as you step forward, reaching for the door handle. It doesn't budge. Frowning, you try again, still locked. You shake the knob harder this time, a hint of frustration creeping into your voice. It won't open, you murmur. Jungkook finally moves, stepping toward the door. He tries it himself, twisting the knob with firm fingers, but it stays locked. A sigh escapes him, of course. His voice, you weren't ready for it. Deep, familiar, a voice that once felt like home. You step back, crossing your arms over your chest, trying to suppress the way your heart clenches. You both stand there for a beat, digesting the situation. Jungkook exhales sharply and leans against the desk behind him, crossing his arms. Great. You glance toward the window, but it's too high and sealed shut. We'll just have to wait until someone finds us, you murmur, mostly to yourself. Jungkook says nothing. He simply nods, eyes fixed ahead but not really looking at anything. The silence between you is unbearable, not because it's empty, but because it's full. Full of things neither of you ever said, full of words you should have spoken years ago, full of questions, regrets, and a love that was never given the chance to last. The air is thick, pressing against your chest. You hate it. You hate that your body still remembers how to be aware of him, that despite the years, despite the on your fingers. Despite the separate lives you have built, you still feel it, the pull. Jungkook suddenly chuckles, but there's no humor in it, just a quiet, tired sound. Of all people, he murmurs, shaking his head. Of all the classrooms, of all the damn doors. You let out a soft breath of disbelief. Yeah. Another silence. You need to stay calm, indifferent. This is just a moment, a brief, inconvenient situation, nothing more. But the walls of the classroom tell a different story. The colorful drawings pinned to the board, the tiny desks, the soft scent of paper and crayons, it all feels too personal, too much like a life you could have had together. Then Jungkook speaks again, breaking the unbearable silence. Jungkook shifts against the desk. He seems hesitant at first, but then he asks, "So, your son, he's in this school?" You nod, still looking at the door. "Yeah, since last year." Jungkook hums. A part of you knows he's piecing things together, that his daughter and your son probably cross paths every day without knowing the history that exists between their parents. You ask after a pause. "Same," he says. "This year my wife wanted her to study here." Your throat tightens at the mention of his wife. You shouldn't react. You don't have the right to react, but you do. You wonder if he feels the same when your husband is mentioned. Jungkook clears his throat. How old is he?" "4. Your voice is softer now. Your daughter?" "3.5. A bitter smile touches your lips. They are close in age." "Yeah." Jungkook murmurs, glancing at the small desk arranged neatly in rows. Maybe they're friends. Maybe not. Either way, the thought is cruelly ironic. A sudden ache builds in your chest, so you turn away, busying yourself by looking at the classroom decorations, anything to distract yourself from the way his voice still sounds the same. Jungkook speaks again, voice quieter this time. "How have you been?" The question shouldn't shake you, but it does. You swallow, still not facing him. "Good," you lie. "Good," he nods slowly. "That's good." You know he is lying too. You glance at him. "You?" Jungkook presses his lips together. "Great." Neither of you believe the other. The silence stretches again. It lingers, this time heavier, thicker. And then, without warning, Jungkook speaks. "I waited for you." Your breath catches. You exactly know what he's speaking. He doesn't have to say. Your fingers tighten around the edge of a desk, but you don't turn around. You can't. Your eyes burn, but you will yourself to stay composed. Jungkook, don't. He stays quiet, staring at you, and you meet his gaze, a moment of silence between you two before you finally start speaking. "Why did you leave without a word?" The words escape before you can stop them, your voice trembling, your chest feels tight like a vice. You want to scream, to demand an explanation, but all that comes out is this quiet, shaky question. Jungkook stares at you, his face unreadable, his eyes cold. For a moment you regret speaking, thinking maybe silence would have been better, but then he speaks. "I could ask you the same thing." His words hit you like a slap. The bitterness in his tone, the accusation, it's like a cold rush of ice in your veins. "What are you talking about?" you ask, your voice rising slightly, frustration bubbling at the surface. Jungkook steps closer, his jaw clenched, his gaze fixed on yours, his voice low but sharp. "You disappeared, Vayan. No calls, no messages, nothing." Your throat constricts. You want to fight back, but the pain in his words, the truth in them holds you back. You swallow, trying to steady your voice. "I thought you moved on. I thought you didn't care anymore." Jungkook's eyes flash with something, hurt, disbelief, anger. "I didn't move on, Vayan." He snaps, the emotion barely contained. "I was waiting for you to fight for us." His words cut through you, deeper than you expected. You shake your head, disbelief evident in your eyes. "Wait for me? You were gone, Jungkook. You moved on with someone else. How was I supposed to know you still cared?" Jungkook scoffs, his frustration growing. "You got married so quickly, Vayan, quickly. I didn't even have a chance to think. And here you are pretending like nothing happened." You're stunned, the words sinking in slowly. "I didn't get married quickly, Jungkook." You fire back, your eyes narrowing, voice thick with emotion. I had to move on because you never came back. You just disappeared." "You didn't come," he says. His voice isn't accusatory, it's just broken. "You didn't even call." You shut your eyes, inhaling shakily. "I thought you moved on." Jungkook laughs, but it's bitter. "Moved on?" He shakes his head. You left Vian. What was I supposed to do? I thought you were done with me. The words burst out of you before you can stop them. You got engaged right after. What was I supposed to think? Jungkook stares at you stunned. His jaw clenches. You think I wanted that? The weight of his words slams into you. All these years, all this time, it was all just misunderstandings. Your breath shakes. You think I wanted to leave? Jungkook doesn't reply. His silence is deafening. Neither of you speak. Both of you standing there in a locked room, finally realizing the truth too late. The weight between you is unbearable now. Jungkook steps closer, voice rough with frustration. You know what pisses me off the most? He says, eyes blazing. That I spent years hating you, thinking you were the one who walked away. You blink rapidly, heart pounding. And now? He exhales sharply, shaking his head. Now I find out that you thought the same about me. You let out a shaky breath. What else was I supposed to think? You were supposed to fight for me, he snaps, voice raw. Your hands tremble, and you were supposed to stop me. Jungkook laughs, harsh, broken. We are idiots. Your chest tightens painfully. Yeah, a tear drops. Jungkook's gaze flickers to it. Something inside him shatters. His fingers twitch. He hesitates like he wants to reach out, wipe it away, but he doesn't. Because you're not his to hold anymore, and he is not yours. Silence. The silence between you and Jungkook is deafening, but amid the heavy words and the unsaid things, something shifts. Your breath hitches, and for a brief moment, you feel like you're not in the room at all. It's as if time slows down, and the weight of the years is suddenly too much to carry. You don't know why it happens, but memories flood your mind. Memories you didn't realize you were still holding on to. The first time you and Jungkook met, the way he smiled so easily, his eyes lightening up when he saw you for the first time at that little coffee shop. You had no idea then what your lives would become, but in that moment, his laugh was the first sound you heard that felt like home. A warm summer of evening, you sitting together on the rooftop of your favorite cafe, sharing an ice cream sundae, laughing at nothing. The sunlight faded into orange hues as he reached over, pushing a strand of hair behind your ear, his fingers lingering on your skin. You're beautiful, he had whispered then, his voice so sincere that they echoed in your chest even now. You blink rapidly, shaking yourself out of the memory, but it's hard to let go of the past you shared. It's too sweet, too painful, and it hurts now, knowing that it's so far to reach. Jungkook too seems lost in thought, his eyes distant, unfocused. His memories rush forward like a tidal wave. You laughing with him at an amusement park, your hair flying in the wind as he held your hand tight, as if he was afraid of losing you in the crowd. The way you looked at him, that spark in your eyes, your smile that never failed to make his heart race. Jungkook remembers the night you both stayed up late, talking about everything and nothing as the moonlight spilled through the window. You had whispered, I could stay like this forever. He's ashamed now, ashamed of the time he let slip by, the chances he never took. He let the world between you grow too wide, and now it feels impossible to bridge. But those memories, they still cling to him like a lifeline, and they hurt. They hurt more than anything else. The painful silence between you both breaks with Jungkook's strained voice. You never stopped loving me, did you? His voice is quiet, his eyes catching yours, the hurt and longing now clear. You pause, your breath shaky. For a moment, all the anger, all the bitterness melts away, and you see him, not the person who walked away, but the one you loved so desperately. I never did. Your voice is barely a whisper, thick with emotion. He looks away briefly, as if the weight of your words is too much to carry, and for a split second, you see the flash of regret on his face. It's like a flicker of the person he used to be before all the hurt and the distance. Another memory flashes between you. The night of your first kiss, how you had both been standing in the rain, laughing as you got soaked, and then the world had stopped. Jungkook had cupped your face with his warm hands, his gaze searching yours like he was looking for permission. He leaned in, and the kiss was soft at first, tentative, unsure. But then it grew deeper, more urgent. You remembered how the kiss had tasted like summer, like the promise of something unspoken, something good. The kiss had meant everything, but now, looking at him, the same longing, That same unspoken promise feels like it's been buried beneath everything that happened after. Jungkook swallows, his throat tight as if trying to hold back everything he never said. His eyes are wet now, and he turns away, trying to mask it with anger. I don't know when I lost you, he says, voice thick, his hands balled into fists. But I know I didn't want to. Your heart aches at his words. It's as if the pain in his voice is a mirror of your own, reflecting everything you both have been through. You want to reach out, to make him understand that you didn't want to lose him either, that you fought silently for him every single day, but the words don't come. It's the memories that speak louder. You remember how it felt when you first held hands, how natural it was, like nothing in the world could come between you. The way his thumb traced circles over your palm as if marking you as his, even before the relationship started. And you remember the small things, the way he used to send you texts in the morning, little messages like good morning sunshine, and how that made you smile for hours. You remember how, when you were stressed, he would always know the right thing to say to calm you down. He knew you, he knew every thought, your every worry. But now, as the years have passed, it feels like he's forgotten, like those little moments don't matter anymore. But they do, they always will. And even as you stand here staring at the person who used to be everything to you, you can't forget. I waited for you too, you whispered, tears threatening to spill. I waited for you every day and you never came. You finally say, weight lifting off your chest. Jungkook flinches as if your words physically hurt him. I never stopped thinking about you, Ryan, he says, his voice hoarse. Every day I told myself I'd find a way back to you, but I couldn't. He inhaled sharply as though trying to steady himself. I was afraid that you had moved on without me. I thought you were better off without me. You shake your head, disbelief flooding your chest. I never moved on, you choke out, the words feeling heavy. I thought you did. I'm sorry, he says, his voice barely above a whisper. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I didn't mean to hurt you. You can't look at him anymore. The weight of it is all too much. The emotions spill over like a dam breaking, and before you know it, the tears are flowing freely. You wipe them away desperately, but it doesn't matter. They keep coming, flooding your face, your heart. I'm sorry too, your voice cracks. And Jungkook, he's crying too. His tears fall freely now, no longer hidden behind walls of pride and anger. His hands tremble as he reaches for you, but before they can touch you, he pulls you back, as if the distance between you is too much to bridge. I never stopped loving you, Jungkook whispers through his tears, his voice raw, almost broken. I couldn't let go of you, but I didn't know how to fix what I broke. You close your eyes, feeling the weight of his words settle deep in your chest. Neither of you wanted to let go, neither of you wanted this distance, this gap of silence. But the world, the timing, the circumstances, and the misunderstandings, those forces took over. You both just gave up. You both stand there caught in the brokenness of your love, a love that truly never felt, but that neither of you knew how to heal. The silence is suffocating, the air is heavy with everything you both wished you could have said, everything you both wanted but never got. And just like that, it's too late. Until a rattling sound at the door, a teacher's voice called from outside. Oh, it was locked. Sorry about that. With a quick twist, the door finally opens, and just like that, your moment ends. Jungkook exhales and steps back. You straighten. Without a word, you walk out first, and behind you, Jungkook follows, his heart breaking with every step. As you both walk toward the auditorium, the weight of everything you have shared, everything you have lost, feels almost unbearable. The silence stretches between you, thick and suffocating, until you can't take it anymore. You stop mid step, your heart heavy, and you turn toward Jungkook. The moment is fragile, a delicate thread holding you together, but something inside you feels like it's finally healed, if only a little. Jungkook, you begin, your voice steady but filled with quiet emotion. Maybe it's time we let go completely. We have had our closure. The truth is out now. We have said everything we needed to. So let's stop holding on to this, the past and the what ifs. Let's move forward freely. Let's live with our spouses, build the lives we have chosen. We owe it to ourselves, to them. to be fully present in the lives we have created. You take a deep breath, your eyes locking with his, your gaze unyielding but gentle. It's time to let go of each other, truly, for good. I'll never forget you, but I'll keep our love locked in a place where it can rest peacefully. You do the same. Jungkook stands still for a moment, staring at you as if weighing your words, his eyes clouded with memories and understanding. Slowly he nods, a quiet, accepting sigh escaping his lips. You're right, he says softly, his voice carrying the weight of the years between you. We can't keep holding on to something that was never meant to be. Maybe we didn't get the ending we dreamed of, but we still have the chance to live the life we have chosen. I'll move forward as you will too. We both deserve that. There's a long pause where the world around you fades, leaving only the two of you standing there, two souls finally at peace with each other. You know, Jungkook adds quietly, maybe love doesn't always mean forever. Sometimes love just means letting go, and in that letting go, we find freedom. You nod, smiling softly, a bittersweet smile that holds all the years, the pain, the love, and now finally the release. At the entrance, you both stop. The crowd inside seems so unaware, so innocent, as the event is just beginning. The children are already seated, laughing, talking, blissfully unaware of the tangled emotions swirling around their parents. You glance toward your husband, waiting a few feet away. He smiles at you, and you force a smile back, warm but distant. Your son looks up and waves, oblivious to the silent war you have just fought in your heart. You take a deep breath, adjusting the weight of it all, then walk towards your family. Jungkook does the same, heading toward his wife and daughter. He takes a moment to adjust his suit, trying to shake off the lingering tension, the remnants of your shared past, before settling into his place next to them. His daughter beams up at him, her innocent joy reminding him that this moment, this family is what he's chosen. But before you and Jungkook said, before the world truly moves on from the past, your eyes meet. Just for a moment, there's a quiet understanding between you, a knowing smile, the kind that only two people who once shared something so real could exchange. It's not a smile of happiness, not entirely, but it's peaceful. In that fleeting moment, you both silently acknowledge everything, the love, the pain, the history, and the finality of it all. His lips curl into a small, almost unnoticeable smile, eyes filled with something that's hard to describe, longing, acceptance, regret, and a strange kind of relief.